After 9 years together, she's leaving for someone else. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. The apartment still smelled like her shampoo, even after she packed half the bathroom. I stood in our kitchen with a cardboard box labeled Jordan Essentials in black marker, watching Claire's reflection in the microwave door as she taped another box shut. 9 years together, and she didn't even look at me unless she needed the tape gone. "I'll pay you back for the couch," she said, voice soft like a therapy podcast. I can't stay here." I stared at the spot on the counter where our 9-year jar used to sit. Glass full of folded notes we wrote each anniversary, one line each, like vows in miniature. She'd moved it to her pile, like it was hers now. "You already left," I said. It came out flat. I hated that. Claire exhaled, the way she did before difficult meetings at work. "Jordan, please don't make this ugly." That was the part that messed with my head. The way she talked like I was the unpredictable one, like I was a problem to manage. In the living room, Miso, our rescue dog, all legs and anxious eyes, paced between my shoes and Claire's suitcase, whining every time the zipper moved. The lease was in both our names until May. The vet insurance was in both our names. Our savings account was in both our names. I had a spreadsheet of our life and no idea which cells were about to go blank. "I just need time," Claire said, and then she delivered it like a press release. "I'm leaving. I met someone." My chest did that thing where it tried to become smaller. "How long?" She pressed her lips together. "That's not helpful." I heard myself laugh once, sharp. "Not helpful to who?" She finally looked at me, eyes glossy, not with guilt, but with something closer to irritation. "I'm trying to do this respectfully. I need to choose myself." That sentence landed like a stamp on paperwork. Approved. Closed. No appeal. Tessa had texted me 10 minutes earlier. "Document everything. Screenshots. Dates. Don't let her rewrite you." I didn't understand what she meant until I saw Claire slide the 9-year jar into her tote, like evidence she owned the story. And then my phone buzzed with a notification that made my hands go cold. 9 years wasn't one thing. It was 1,000 small agreements we never wrote down. It was Claire's laugh when I burned pancakes the first time I tried to impress her, and the way she still ate them anyway, drowning the charcoal in syrup. It was our ritual of sitting on the Riverwalk bench every first Sunday of the month, rain or shine, splitting a cinnamon roll from Lark Street Bakery and leaving crumbs for the pigeons like we were generous people. On our first anniversary, we couldn't afford gifts, so we bought a cheap glass jar and wrote each other one sentence on a scrap of paper. "You make my ordinary days feel like home." We folded them and dropped them in. Every year after, we added another. We called it the 9-year jar like it was a joke, like 9 wasn't big enough to be scary. I remembered the night we moved into the apartment, sweating under the weight of a couch we found on Craigslist. Claire sat on the floor surrounded by boxes and said, "If we can survive moving day, we can survive anything." I believed her. I loved that kind of confidence, the way she made promises sound inevitable. When she got promoted, she cried in the bathroom because she was convinced someone would find out she didn't deserve it. I sat on the bath mat and said, "I'm not going anywhere." She wiped her face and said, "Don't say that unless you mean it." I meant it. The tiny discomfort I ignored showed up last spring after dinner with friends. Claire had posted a photo of us on her story, me in the background, half smiling, her face perfectly lit. The caption said, "Finally choosing happiness." People hearted it like it was inspirational. In the Uber home I teased, "Am I the happiness?" Claire stared out the window, phone glowing in her hand. "It's not about you." I told myself she meant something bigger, like career, like mental health. But later, when I scrolled back, I noticed she'd cropped my hand out of the picture where it rested on her knee. It felt too small to matter, until it wasn't. The first real shift wasn't dramatic. It was the quiet tightening of Claire's world around her phone. She started taking calls in the hallway, back turned, voice pitched low. When I walked into a room, conversation stopped mid-syllable like someone hit pause. She said she was protecting her energy, which sounded reasonable until it became a reason for everything. "You've been working late a lot," I said one Tuesday in June while she kicked off heels by the door. "It's quarter end," she replied, already scrolling. "Don't start." "I'm not starting. I'm asking." Claire smiled in that careful way, lips only. "Jordan, I can't be responsible for your anxiety." That phrase lodged under my ribs. I had always been the steady one, the guy who remembered the dog's meds and paid the internet bill on time. Suddenly I was anxious for noticing she came home smelling like a bar at 11:40 p.m. She also got weird about the 9-year jar. For years it lived on the kitchen counter beside the fruit bowl. In July, it vanished. I put it away, she said quickly when I asked. It's clutter. It's literally our thing. Her eyes flicked, just for a second. We have other things. Then came this self-growth language. Podcasts about attachment styles. New boundaries. New friends I never met. She went to a women's networking dinner and came home buzzing, then pulled away when I kissed her goodnight like my affection was a demand. The detail that didn't fit happened on August 18th. Claire fell asleep on the couch with her phone face up, a rarity. A calendar notification flashed across the screen. Drinks, M. The timestamp read 6:30 p.m. The location said Juniper Lounge, and the invite was set to private. I stared at the letter M like it was a locked door. When I gently shook her awake, she snatched the phone so fast it slid off the cushion. What was that? I asked. Her expression hardened. Don't be creepy. I didn't touch it. It lit up. She stood, gathered her bag, and said, I can't do this tonight, like I'd accused her of murder. As she walked into the bedroom, she added over her shoulder, You're always looking for something to be wrong. I didn't answer, because for the first time, I realized she was right. On September 2nd, Claire asked if we could talk after dinner. She didn't say it with fear. She said it like a scheduled agenda item. We sat on the edge of the bed because the couch felt too domestic, too shared. Miso lay at my feet, ears twitching, as if he could hear the fault line opening. Claire folded her hands. I've been doing a lot of reflecting. Okay, I said. My mouth was dry. About what? About us. About what I need. I forced a small laugh. You're scaring me. I'm not trying to, she said quickly. I want to be kind. That was when I knew kindness was about to be used as a weapon. She took a breath and looked at a point over my shoulder, not at me. I don't think we're right for each other anymore. My brain tried to reject it. What? I've outgrown this, she continued, voice trembling in a controlled way. I've been feeling lonely for a long time. I'm here, I said. I'm literally sitting. Physically, she cut in. But emotionally, you've been checked out. The sentence hit me like a slap because it was so clean, so rehearsed. That's not true. Claire shook her head, sad face on. I'm not blaming you. I met someone who makes me feel seen. There it was. My stomach dropped so hard I thought I might throw up. Who? I asked. She hesitated, then, Miles. The name was new, but the way she said it wasn't. Like she'd practiced it in the mirror until it sounded inevitable. How long has this been going on? I asked. Claire's eyes filled. It hasn't. Not like that. We didn't do anything until recently. Recently is a word, I said, and hated how calm I sounded. Give me a date. She looked offended, like I'd asked for her tax returns. Jordan, I'm not on trial. I've been with you 9 years. And I'm grateful for that, she said, reaching for my hand. I pulled back. Her voice sharpened. This is exactly why I'm leaving. You make everything an interrogation. You're leaving me for him, I said. And I'm the bad guy for asking when. Claire stood abruptly. I'm trying to do this respectfully. I need to choose myself. The line again, delivered like a stamp. Then she said, there was no overlap. Jordan, I swear to you. By morning, our apartment looked like a crime scene where the victim was the future. Claire took the spare room for a few nights and started sleeping there with the door shut. I slept on the couch, staring at the ceiling fan, listening to her muffled phone laughs through the wall. Every laugh sounded like proof. The silence between us had teeth. Mutual friends noticed fast. A group chat I'd been in for years, Sunday Crew, went quiet for me and active without me. Then, a different thread popped up between me and 3 people. Hey, just checking in. Heard things are rough. Heard things. Like weather. Claire posted an Instagram story, a sunset from the river walk with the caption, when you finally choose peace. No face, no context, but every friend who knew our bench knew what it meant. Comments rolled in. Proud of you. You deserve happiness. A few people unfollowed me within an hour. I tried to keep it practical. We need to talk about the lease, I said that evening, holding the printed renewal offer the landlord had slid under our door. Claire didn't look up from her laptop. I'll figure it out. Figure it out how? We're both on it. She sighed. Jordan, don't panic. I'm not leaving you with everything. It felt like she was already narrating a version where I was hysterical and she was responsible. The entanglements stacked up in my head like bills. Our joint account, the vet plan, the credit card autopay, and miso. When Claire went to run errands, she took him without asking, then brought him back 2 hours later like a borrowed object. That's when Tessa showed up at my door with takeout and a look that said she'd been waiting for this call. First thing, she said, kicking her shoes off. Do not let her control the story. I'm not trying to control anything, I muttered. Tessa pointed at my phone. You're already losing. Screenshot everything. Save dates. You need receipts, Jordan. Then a stranger texted me, and I realized she'd started first. That text hit harder than the breakup. Like what? I typed back, fingers shaking. The reply came fast, controlling. The whole tracking her thing. Anyway, hope you get help. I stared at it until my eyes burned. Claire had told people I was tracking her. Because I'd noticed a calendar invite? Tessa leaned over. Who was that? I showed her. She made a sound like a low growl. Okay, she's planting flags. We're doing receipts. I didn't want to become the guy building a case against his own girlfriend. But then Claire came out of the spare room and smiled at me like everything was normal. I'm going to stay at a friend's tonight, she said lightly. What friend? I asked. Her smile tightened. Why does it matter? Because 9 years made, what friend, a normal question. Because she'd just accused me, indirectly, of being a monster. After she left, I walked into the kitchen and saw the 9-year jar on the counter again. Not for me. For optics. Like a prop. I opened my laptop and did something I'd never done in our relationship. I checked the shared iCloud album called Home. Claire and I used it for dog photos, recipes, pictures of receipts for taxes. Boring stuff. Near the bottom, buried between miso at the groomer and electric bill, was a screenshot I didn't recognize. The thumbnail showed a text thread with a contact saved as M. I clicked it. The screenshot had a timestamp in the corner. 06/14, 11:52 p.m. The messages read, M. You sure he doesn't know? Claire. He thinks I'm working late. It's fine. M. You're still coming over Sunday? Claire. Yes. Riverwalk first. Then yours. My stomach clenched so hard it felt like a hand. June. Not recently. And Riverwalk. Our bench. Our cinnamon roll. Our ritual. I zoomed in until I could see the battery percentage, the carrier, the tiny details that proved it wasn't fake. Claire had screenshotted her own betrayal and accidentally dropped it into the one place we both shared. Tessa watched my face change and said quietly, start the timeline. I stared at the date again, and something colder than anger settled in. I didn't confront Claire that night. I wanted to. I drafted 10 different messages that all sounded like pain trying to wear a suit. Instead, I opened the joint savings account online, the one we called House Maybe as a joke because we weren't ready to say house out loud. Balance, $2,417. 16. 2 weeks earlier it had been $18,904. 22. My breath came out in a broken laugh. I clicked Recent Activity, and the screen filled with tiny betrayals. August 5th, transfer out, $3,500. 00, Sunrise PMT. August 12th, transfer out, $4,200. 00, Sunrise PMT. August 19th, transfer out, $6,500. 00, Sunrise PMT. August 27th, transfer out, $2,100. 00, Miles R. Venmo, Memo, deposit split. Tessa whistled through her teeth. That's not groceries. My ears rang. She told me she was saving for a trip. Trips don't have property management names, Tessa said, already taking photos of the screen with her phone. Email search. Right now. We shared a household email for bills. I typed Sunrise into the search bar and watched my inbox populate. There it was, an email header, plain as a death certificate. From Leasing at Sunrise Apartment. Com. Subject, application received, Cedar Row Apartments. Date, Thursday, August 1st, 2025 at 9:14 a.m. My mouse hovered like it was afraid. I opened it. Congratulations. We've received your application for Unit 3B. This email confirms the following applicants, Claire H. and Jordan M. My name. My information. Used like a spare key. I didn't remember applying for anything. Tessa said, "Call them." It was 9:37 p.m., but Sunrise had a 24-hour call center. A tired-sounding person answered and asked for the application number. I read it off the email. After a pause, they said, "Yes, I see this. Move-in scheduled for September 15th. "That can't be right," I said. "I didn't authorize anything." Another pause. "Sir, the application notes say you provided consent via e-sign on August 2nd at 10:03 a.m. "I was at work at 10:03, I whispered, and then I remembered something I'd ignored. Claire asking me to quickly sign a dog insurance form on her tablet. Tessa's eyes locked on mine. "She forged you, Jordan." And my phone lit up with Claire's location sharing request, suddenly re-enabled. I declined the location request without thinking. A second later, another request popped up. Then a third. Each one came with a tiny note, "For Miso's safety." Like she was the responsible parent, and I was the unstable ex. Tessa snatched my phone and turned it face down. "She's phishing," she said. "She wants a reaction. Don't give her one." My brain tried to keep up with the facts like it was assembling furniture without instructions. Claire had been planning to move out on September 15th, 13 days after she told me she'd just met Miles. She'd moved money out of our joint savings in chunks big enough to hurt, but small enough to avoid my bank alerts. She'd used my name on an application, and she'd gotten my consent by slipping a signature onto some random form. I opened my work calendar. August 2nd, 10:03 a.m. A stand-up meeting. 10 people on Zoom. I wasn't e-signing anything. I was presenting metrics. "So what's the play?" I asked, hating that my voice sounded calm. "The play," Tessa said, "is you stop bleeding." I thought about her credit. About what happened if that lease at Cedar Row defaulted with my name on it. About what happened if Claire ran up the joint card and left me to explain to collections that I'd been in love, not in a scam. It wasn't just betrayal. It was fraud wrapped in a breakup narrative. And the narrative part mattered because it was already spreading. I checked Instagram and saw a mutual friend reposting Claire's story with added text. "When you leave a relationship that's been suffocating you." Suffocating. That was me, apparently. The guy who made her cinnamon roll halves equal. The moral dilemma hit before I even knew I had won. If I exposed what she'd done, publicly, it wouldn't just hurt Claire. It would blow up our friend group, maybe her job, maybe Miles' life too. If he'd even known what she was doing. Tessa pulled up a chair. "We do this clean. Bank. Landlord. Email. Paper truth. No screaming." I nodded, but my hands shook as I opened a new document titled Timeline. Then my laptop pinged with a calendar invite from Claire. "Coffee tomorrow? We should be adults." That night, I didn't sleep. I built the timeline like it was a bridge out of a burning house. June 14th, 11:52 p.m. Screenshot with M, mentioning River Walk, Sunday, then yours. August 1st, 9:14 a.m. Email from Sunrise. Application received. Cedar Row Apartments. August 2nd, 10:03 a.m. Alleged e-sign consent while I was on a recorded work call. 08/05/08/27. 4 transfers draining house maybe, including Miles R. Venmo. I printed everything. I saved PDFs. I forwarded the Sunrise email to a fresh account Claire didn't know existed. I changed the password on our household email and set up 2-factor authentication. I watched the little spinning wheel like it was a lock clicking into place. At 7:30 a.m., I went to the bank before work. The lobby smelled like carpet cleaner and quiet desperation. I asked to separate the joint account and remove overdraft linking to our checking. The banker didn't ask why. He just slid forms across the desk like he'd seen this movie 100 times. "Do you want to freeze new transfers?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "As of today." I also started a credit freeze online. It took 10 minutes and made me angry that 10 minutes could have saved me weeks of trust. At lunch, I called the leasing office at Cedar Row again. This time I asked for documentation of the e-sign. They said they could email me the audit trail, but only to the address on file. "That's the shared email," I said. "Can you add an alternate?" There was a pause. "We can with written request and ID." "Great," I said, and my voice didn't break. It felt like revenge already. After work, I called Patel, an attorney Tessa's cousin had used for a landlord dispute. Patel listened without gasping, which was comforting in a weird way. "Keep everything in writing," Patel said. "Don't threaten. Don't accuse in public. secure your finances, then address the lease with the property manager. And Claire? I asked. Patel's tone stayed even. You can confront her, but don't do it where she controls the narrative. The question that kept looping in my head was simpler. Do I expose her to everyone, or do I protect my life quietly and let her keep lying? At 11:08 p.m., Claire texted, "Coffee at Juniper. 10 a.m. Please." Juniper was the same lounge from the drinks notification. I chose it on purpose. Claire arrived 10 minutes late, wearing the sweater I'd bought her last winter. She sat across from me like we were co-workers negotiating a project deadline. "Thank you for meeting," she said. "I didn't come for you," I replied. "I came for clarity." Her jaw tightened for a microsecond, then she softened her face. "I know this is painful. I don't want you to hate me." "You're doing a great job making sure everyone else does," I said. Claire blinked. "What does that mean?" I didn't show her the receipts. Not yet. I watched how she reacted to pressure like a scientist. She leaned in, voice low. "People are worried about you." "People?" I echoed. Claire sighed, and now her eyes looked properly wet. "Jordan, you have been intense lately. The checking my phone stuff. The way you show up when I'm trying to have space." "That didn't happen," I said. "And you know it." She tilted her head like I was disappointing her. "You don't have to rewrite reality to be the victim." There it was. Projection served cold. I pulled out my notebook and wrote down the sentence as she said it. Claire's gaze flicked to it, and her lips pressed together. "Look," she continued, switching tactics. "I'm willing to be generous. I'll take over the lease. I'll handle the paperwork. You can have most of the furniture." "And miso?" I asked. "We can alternate weeks," she said quickly, too quickly. "It's fair." Fair. Like she hadn't already drained our savings. Then she slid a manila envelope across the table. "I drafted something," she said, "just to keep things civil. If you sign, it shows we agreed you'd move out by the end of the month." I didn't touch it. "Where did you get those forms?" Claire's smile returned, brittle. "It's standard. I'm trying to protect both of us." Protect. Another word she loved. My phone buzzed. A message popped up from the Sunday crew chat. Someone had added me back just long enough to send one line. "Dude, why are you telling people Claire cheated first?" I looked up and caught the first real panic in her eyes. After Juniper, I went home and didn't open Claire's envelope. I put it in a plastic sleeve like it was contaminated. Tessa and I sat at my kitchen table while Miso chewed a toy between us, oblivious. I showed her the text from the Sunday crew chat. "They think you started the cheating rumor," Tessa said. "Which means she told them you're lying." I opened Instagram. Claire had posted again. A blurry photo of 2 coffees with the caption, "Hard conversations with people who don't take accountability." No names, but everyone knew. "She wants you to explode," Tessa said. "Then she gets to say, see?" I stared at the calendar. Sunday was Friendsgiving. Our annual one, the same group, the same rented community room in the apartment complex across town. I'd already paid my share for the caterer back in August on our joint card. And Claire was definitely going. She'd be surrounded by people who'd watched us grow up together. I could skip it and let the story calcify. Or I could show up calm, with paper truth, and force reality back into the room. I texted the Sunday crew chat. "I'm coming Sunday to pick up my things and see Miso." No drama. A few seen notifications. No replies. Claire texted 20 minutes later. "Please don't come. People are stressed. I don't want a scene." "I won't make one," I replied. "I'll be an adult." She sent a single word. "Fine. Then, Miles will be there. Just so you're prepared." My heart didn't speed up the way I expected. It slowed, like my body was conserving energy. I printed the bank transfers and highlighted the dates. I printed the Sunrise email header with my name under hers. I requested the e-sign audit trail in writing and taped a copy of my driver's license to it. I slipped everything into a plain folder. "Remember," Patel had said, "don't threaten. Don't accuse in public." I wasn't planning to accuse. I was planning to ask questions no one could answer away. Inside the community room, Miles stood beside Claire, smiling like he belonged. Friendsgiving smelled like turkey and tension. String lights blinked over folding tables. People kept their eyes on the food like eye contact might start a fire. Claire floated through the room with practiced brightness, hand resting on Miles' arm as if it had always been there. When she spotted me, her smile faltered, then reset. "Jordan," she said a little too loud. "You made it." Tessa squeezed my elbow. Breathe, she murmured. Miles stepped forward with a networking grin. Hey man, I'm Miles. I didn't take his hand. I nodded. Jordan. Claire's cheeks flushed. Okay, let's be adults. The breakup line, repackaged. I opened my phone and turned the screen toward her. Why is my name on an apartment application I never signed? Her face went blank. Not confused. Blank. Miles' smile slipped. What? Jordan, this is not the place, Claire said. It became the place when you told people I was tracking you. I replied, steady. When you used my identity to sign a lease. A few heads turned. Claire's eyes darted around, calculating. You're doing this to punish me, she hissed, low enough only I could hear. You can't stand that I'm happy. I slid 2 pages onto the nearest table, the bank transfers and the Sunrise email header, dates highlighted. August 5th, $3,500, Sunrise PMT. August 27th, $2,100, Miles R. Venmo, memo, deposit split. Miles leaned in, reading. His jaw tightened. Deposit split. Claire snapped. It's not what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like, I said. You drained our savings to fund a move-in date you planned before you ended it. Miles looked from Claire to me, unsettled. Claire, you said you were already separated. We were, she shot back. Emotionally. You told everyone I was suffocating you, I said. So you could leave clean. Claire's mask cracked. Her mouth twisted, and the words came out sharp. I wasn't going to waste my 30s waiting for you to be impressive. The room went silent, and Miles' face changed as if he finally understood. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. People started whispering in small clusters, the way weather changes in a room. A friend I'd known since college avoided Claire's eyes and stared at the highlighted bank transfers like numbers could explain character. Someone muttered, "Is that fraud?" and then looked at me like I might have an answer. Claire grabbed my folder and tried to close it. I gently pulled it back. Don't, I said. One word. Calm. Final. Miles stepped away from her arm like it burned. You used his name? He asked, louder now. Claire's voice went tight. I did what I had to do. For what? Miles demanded. For me. She flicked her eyes around the room again, and then did the thing Tessa warned me about. She shifted the story mid-sentence. Jordan has been unstable, Claire announced, voice shaking dramatically. He's trying to ruin me. My stomach dropped, because for half a second, I saw the room tilt, people remembering her posts, her captions, her carefully curated sadness. Then Tessa spoke up, clear as a bell. Unstable people don't bring printed audit trails. A few laughs, nervous but real. The tilt corrected. Claire fled to the bathroom. Miles followed, then stopped at the door like he didn't know which side of the story he was on anymore. My phone exploded afterward. Some messages were quiet apologies. Some were defensive. I didn't know. Some were angry at me for making it public, even though the only person who made it public was the one who'd been subtweeting our breakup for weeks. At midnight, I got an email from Cedar Rose Leasing Office, forwarded from our shared account before I locked it down. Subject: e-sign audit trail attached. Date: Sunday, September 7th, 2025 at 11:47 p.m. The attachment showed the IP address, device type, and signature path. The e-sign had been completed on an iPad at our apartment. Claire's iPad. I sent it straight to Patel, then to Sunrise with a written dispute. I also sent it to Claire in one sentence. You need to remove my name immediately. She replied 3 minutes later. If you do this, I'll tell everyone what you're really like. That was when I understood. This wasn't leaving, it was war on reality. The next week felt like living inside a printer. Forms, emails, certified letters. Patel filed a formal notice disputing my consent on the Cedar Row application and demanded Sunrise remove my name. Sunrise responded in writing on September 11th at 2:22 p.m. We have placed the application under investigation and paused move-in. It was the first time in days my lungs worked right. Claire tried new tactics. She sent long messages at 1 a.m. about closure and how we both contributed. She dropped off Miso with a note that said, "He misses me," like the dog was a messenger. She also posted a vague story. Sometimes accountability looks like protecting yourself from abuse. I stopped reading. I blocked her on everything except email, and I told Patel to be the point of contact for the lease. For the dog, I did what I should have done weeks earlier. I made it concrete. On September 13th at 4:10 p.m., I emailed Claire a simple proposal. Miso lives with me. You can visit Saturdays 12 to 2 at the dog park, with Tessa present. It wasn't punishment. It was stability. She replied in 10 minutes. You can't do that. He's ours. I wrote back, and my hands didn't shake. I started therapy because I didn't trust my own brain anymore. In the first session, I said, I feel like I'm going crazy, and the therapist said, you're describing gaslighting. Like naming it could drain some poison out. I also went back to the river walk alone, early morning, when the benches were wet with dew. I sat where Claire and I had split cinnamon rolls for years and let the place be a place again, not a shrine. Tessa came with me once and didn't talk. She just handed me a coffee and stayed quiet until I could breathe. By the end of the month, Sunrise confirmed in writing that my name had been removed from the Cedar Row lease file. Patel told me to keep the letter forever. I thought that would be the end. I even slept through the night once, shocked by the silence. On October 3rd, Miles emailed me. You should see what she told me. Miles' email was short, almost embarrassed. He attached a screenshot of their text from September 4th, 7:18 p.m. Claire, if he fights the lease thing, tell people he scared you. They'll believe it. Miles, that's messed up. Claire, it's survival. Seeing it in black and white did something I didn't expect. It didn't ignite me. It cooled me. I replied to Miles once. Thanks. I'm handling it through Patel. Please don't contact me again. Then I forwarded the screenshot to Patel and archived the thread like it was a file, not a feeling. A month earlier, I'd wanted revenge in the movie sense. Public humiliation, dramatic exposure, some moment where everyone clapped for my pain. What I actually needed was the opposite, a life that didn't orbit her story. So I did the unglamorous work. I rerouted my paycheck. I canceled joint autopays. I changed every password. I made a rule that I only responded to Claire once per day, in writing, with one topic per message. If she tried to drag me into emotion, I didn't follow. Some friends drifted away, uncomfortable with the mess. A few came back with apologies that sounded sincere. I accepted the ones that didn't ask me to make it easy for them. The Riverwalk bench became mine again in small doses. Sometimes I brought Miso and let him sniff where our crumbs used to fall. Sometimes I just sat and listened to the water until my brain stopped rehearsing arguments with a person who wasn't listening. One evening in late October, a box showed up outside my door. No note. Inside were a few things Claire hadn't bothered to claim. A mug, a scarf, and the 9-year jar. I sat at my table and opened it. I read 9 folded sentences written in different versions of our handwriting. Reminders of a love that had been real, even if the ending was rotten. I didn't burn them. I didn't throw them out. I bought a second jar, set it beside the first, and wrote one new sentence on fresh paper.